day. This is Terry Scott, the All Solutions Known resource consultant, business resource consultant. Good day. Today's Tuesday. And you know what? Tuesday should be Business Development Day, but I really like to call them Intentional Tuesdays. And here's why. For many small business owners, Tuesday is one of the best days of the week to focus on business development. Monday often gets swallowed up by catching up, handling those problems, checking in with the staff, and reacting to whatever came across your desk over the weekend. By Tuesday, your mind should be clearer, your team is more settled, and you are in a much better position to be intentional instead of reactive. And that makes Tuesday the perfect day to stop waiting for business to happen and start creating it. Now, if long-term success is the goal, then business development cannot be treated like an afterthought. It needs a place on the calendar. And remember, I've said before, if it gets on the calendar, it gets done, right? Tuesdays should be that place. It is a strong day for outbound contact because people are typically back in the work mode, more responsive, and more open to real conversations. This is the day to reconnect, follow up, open doors, and remind people that you are still active, still interested, and still bringing value to the table. For me, I really don't even like calling people on Mondays. I definitely do not knock on their doors on Mondays. I'm sorry. I've worked for companies and there has been success on Mondays. I understand that, but I think there's better success if you focus on other days of the week. Definitely Tuesday is better than Monday. So I'm glad you're here. There's more coming. So here goes. First of all, let's reach out to those past customers. Past customers are one of the most overlooked opportunities in the business. And these people who already know you already have some kind of a level of trust in you, and they may be only just one conversation away from doing business again with you. There's some easy sales right there. First, reaching out to past customers helps keep your name fresh in their minds. And you can just call them and say, "Hey, it's Terry, and hello. How are you doing?" And that's pretty much all it. I just want to find out how you're doing. That's fine. I'm not really, and you can even say this, I'm not calling to sell you anything. I'm just calling to find out how you're doing. Maybe look at something in the newspaper and how the newspaper is affecting local businesses, and call them and say, "Hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything today, but I just have a question for you. What are you thinking? How is that tax going to be, that tax hike? How is that going to affect your business? Is it affecting your business? Are you feeling any of that pain?" So anyway, just reach out to them. And so most people do not move forward with a provider because they dislike them. They simply forget. They get distracted or assume that if they need something later, they will remember. Oh my goodness, no. Let's help them remember. A Tuesday follow-up gives them that reminder in a helpful and a professional way. Now, second, past customers often have additional needs they may not know about yet. So their business may have grown. And you know what? They may not know about it, and you may not know about it because their business may have grown and may have changed. It may have developed new challenges since the last time you spoke. A quick message or a call can uncover those new projects, new service needs, and new ways to help them. So for instance, again, you can say, "Hey, have you come up with any new things in your business?" And you know what? Here's another idea, and I'm glad you're here to be able to get some of this information from me. But I create Facebook groups, and then I tell my customers, "You know what? I'm going to do a shout out about your business because you've got this new event coming on," or anything like that. So this is an investigative call. Find out what it is and tell them, "You know what? I'm just calling you because I want to find out what's going on and how I can promote you in my Facebook group." So that's an idea there. That's worth, could be $1 million to some people. So then, third, past customers can become one of your best referral sources. Even if they do not need your help right now, they may know someone who does. So reaching out to them gives them a reason to think of you and to recommend you to others. Reach out to warm leads. Now, warm leads are people who already have shown interest, they've asked questions, they've engaged with your content, or had some previous conversation with you. Recently, I've been to a networking group, and truly, this is a networking group. These people come with business cards, and they actually spend time talking to you before, during, and after the group. I've been to some networking groups where that is not the case. Some people even forget to bring business cards. Hello, what's up with that? So anyway, these people are not cold contacts. These are opportunities that are already partly open. Now, first, warm leads are often closer to saying yes than you realize. Many times, they're simply waiting for the right time, a little bit more information, or a reason to re-engage. Tuesday is an excellent day to bring that conversation back to life. Second, following up with warm leads shows professionalism and consistency. It tells people that you do not just talk once and then disappear. Ooh, that's so bad. And I've been guilty of it. I go to a networking group, I get all of these business cards, and then I can't get back to them in time. With AI, that sure helps a lot. But again, we have to get back to them basically within 24 to 48 hours, and those are business days. So if you have a networking event on a Friday or Saturday or something like that, it's permissible to get back to them on Monday or Tuesday. Guess what? Today is Tuesday. Yes. Okay, so anyway, you stay engaged and you care enough to circle back and to treat opportunities seriously. And third, warm leads often appreciate the follow-up more than business owners expect. Sometimes we're afraid of that phone, but you would be surprised. You call them and they really appreciate the follow-up. Now, many people are busy and need a nudge. Your message can make it easier for them to move from interest to action. Move from interest to action. Put that on a poster and say, today I'm helping people move from interest to action. You can reach out to referral partners. Referral partners can be a major source of steady business when the relationship is nurtured the right way. Now, these may be professionals, business owners, consultants, vendors, or community connections who serve the same audience in different ways. First, reaching out to the referral partners helps strengthen the relationship. People refer business more often to those who stay visible and connected. If they have not heard from you in a while, you may not be top of mind. Top of mind is what we want to have. Second, those relationships can create a steady stream of mutual opportunity, and really everything should be mutual. We're not just takers, we're givers. And actually, we should be more givers than takers because we don't our what comes back does not necessarily come back from that particular person. We're just giving out to the world, and the world will give back to us. It might not be like, for instance, if we give to this one business person, we shouldn't necessarily expect something back from that business person. When you give to that business person or that cause, you'll be blessed elsewhere. It doesn't have to be directly from that particular place that you sent it to. And I heard something, so I paused there a little bit. So reaching out to those referral partners helps strengthen the relationship, and people refer businesses more often to those who stay visible and connected. So again, if they haven't heard from you for a while, you may not be top of mind. So let's move on. Second, these relationships can create a steady stream of mutual opportunity, as I mentioned, and when you check in regularly, you create more space for collaboration, introductions, and shared wins. Good referral relationships rarely happen by accident, and they don't really. They are built through intentional contact. And through all of my videos, I always talk about intentional intentions, and that's why today I call it Intentional Tuesday. Third, referral partners can also give you a useful market insight. They may hear of things from customers, prospects, or industry contacts that help you understand current needs and trends. A Tuesday conversation can create both referrals and better business awareness. Reach out to people that you have been meaning to follow up with. Every business owner has a list of people they've meant to contact but never got around to. That list often contains real opportunities that were delayed by busyness, distraction, or competing priorities. Those things happen. First, reaching out clears mental clutter. Unfinished followed ups drain energy and create unnecessary pressure. And Tuesday is a great time to clear your desk mentally by reconnecting with those people. Second, old conversations are not always dead conversations. Sometimes people were interested, but timing was off. Sometimes they were busy. Sometimes they needed to hear from you again. Reaching back out can reopen doors that were never fully closed. And as I'm reading this, I'm also thinking of some other things. I used to do subscription memberships for a national company, NFIB. I think it's a great company, National Federation of Independent Business. And we would see people on a yearly basis. And what's interesting, though, is if one year they weren't interested, and sometimes a rep would think, oh, I saw that business last year and I'm not going back. They weren't interested. Well, guess what? Things happen within a year. And surprisingly, and it happens more often than not, you go in that second year and they are a different person. You're wondering, where did this person come from? Because the year prior, they weren't interested. But things happen, things change in people's businesses. And it's the same way here. Just think about that. And another thing is, I think of how when I do go back monthly or 6 months or yearly, so many things have changed. Employees have come and gone and all kinds of things. And business is really fluid. It's continuing changing. And so sometimes people were busy and all that sort of thing. So reaching back out can reopen those doors that were never fully closed, and we thought that they were. Third, consistent follow-up builds your reputation. It shows that you're dependable, attentive, and serious about relationships. In a world full of poor follow-through, this alone can help set you apart. And I remember seeing one business person, and I don't know how many business people do this, and this might be a technique for you as a business person. Consider it anyway. So I had to see one company 3 times before they ordered from me. And every time, first time, he took my business card. Second time, before I left, he took my business card out of his desk and wrote something on it. The third time, I went there and he told me, and because he had written 3 times on my business card that I had been there. Now you can use a simple call. A phone call is still one of the strongest business development tools available because it creates direct human connection. Now, our phone seems to be really heavy, especially if our intention is to make a sale. But if our intention is to find out how we can help people, find out how this local event is helping or hurting their business, and even telling them, I'm not here to make a sale. I'm not calling you to talk about business necessarily. What I'm calling about is this. And that's not a technique. You're being sincere. But what will happen is many times they'll say, oh, and by the way, call me next week, because they know this is not a sales call. They'll say, call me next week. I want to order such and such. Please, at that point, do not say, oh, let me place that order for you today. No, no, no. You blew it. Be honest, be genuine, be sincere. So first, a call allows tone and sincerity to come through immediately. People can hear that you are genuine, engaged, and interested in helping, which is harder to communicate in shorter written messages. Now that reminds me, I hope though that as you're watching this video, that you can hear my tone and my sincerity coming through, because I want you to know I am definitely here to help your business. I've done this since 1981. Not everything that I'm offering with my All Solutions menu of services, because over time, things change. Like I said, I first started out back in 1981 with the imprinted promotional items. I do that today too through branding more, and you always get 10% off minimum off of catalog pricing and free shipping for the first time order. So, and this isn't all about me selling right now and whatever. You can click on the link at the end of this video. I'll have some link there about how to get to the menu of services. But I want you to know that I'm here to help you. And you know what? If you never order from me, that's fine too. I'm being honest and sincere. Or if you buy personal imprinted promotional items someplace else, that's fine too if you're in love with the person that you're doing that with. So that's good. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to be sincere here, okay? So second, calls can move conversations faster. Instead of exchanging multiple messages over several days, one good call can clarify needs, answer questions, and set the next step. So when you're leaving a voicemail, say, this is the best time to get back to me, that sort of thing. Because again, we're always playing phone tag or quite a bit. Third, a phone call often stands out because fewer people are making them. Here's another tip. I'm glad, again, you're on this. But another thing that is so rare is sending out thank you notes. So a phone call often stands out because fewer people are making them. Don't forget to send a thank you card. And you don't want to do it the day after. You want to do it a couple of days after so they get it within like 3 or 4 days. You don't want to become, you don't want to appear as to be too hungry. The only thing is now really you probably could mail it the day after or the mail it the day of. And I don't know, with snail mail, it may take about that long anyway. I'm not trying to pick on our post office. But anyway, then things are a little bit different. So inboxes are crowded and text threads get buried, but a thoughtful call can cut through the noise in a powerful way. It reminds me, last night I was reading this thread and I'm trying to think, how can I reply to this part of the thread and not everything else? And so I emailed a brand new thread, and in the subject line it said, new thread. You get all these threads, and people say, wow, I emailed that to you. And I'm like, really, I'm not sure if I saw that. Oh, sure, it was in that list of 10, 15, that long thread that we had. Yeah, I'm going to remember that. But let's talk about email. Use a simple email. Email still remains the most practical tools. Okay. Email remains one of the most practical tools for Tuesday. Tools for Tuesday, tools for Tuesday, tools for Tuesday. You say that 10 times fast. For Tuesday outreach because it is efficient, professional, and easy to personalize. First, email gives people time to respond on their own schedule. Not everyone can take a call in the middle of the day, but many will read a short, helpful email and reply when ready. Hello, short email. So again, maybe use AI to make things concise and make sure that you've got your spelling right and all of that sort of thing. Second, email works well for clear follow-up and documentation. That is so important, documentation. And that's why I use email a lot, because I want to have some sort of a paper trail. I think that's a good idea. Dates. And you can summarize your reason for reaching out. You can mention the value that you provide and include an easy next step without putting pressure on the other person. Now, here's another thing too. If you require or you want to have a long email, a lot of content, I would recommend creating a PDF and then in your email have bullet points about it and say that if interested, I have a PDF that explains this a little bit more. That way, and you can even say, I'm trying to save you time. In the essence of time, I'm not going to voice everything here. If you're interested in knowing more or taking advantage of this, open the PDF below. And then also put some sort of a urgency on it, saying that for a limited time, the PDF expires in a couple of days or something like that. That's also very important. We want them to open that email, right? So third, a well-written email can be reused as a template while still feeling personal. And this makes it easier for business owners to stay consistent with outreach every Tuesday. So keep a file of documents that have these templates and label them so that it makes sense. And then next Tuesday, you can do the same thing over again using the same template, but change the name and that sort of thing. Now we move on to using a simple text. Now, texting has become more acceptable. And just know that with the text, it's going to be immediate. I, I, I take that back in a sense. It all depends on probably the age and everything. Younger people love text and they'll respond right away, and that's good. But I tell people too that if it's urgent, give me a call, and because I'll no doubt see it or hear it. But if you don't mind me getting back to you in 2 hours or more, you can go ahead and text me because I don't always look at my text often. Now, a younger person probably looks at text more often. And so, usually, though, if you text somebody, you could get a response pretty quickly. Texting can be a highly effective outreach method when used appropriately and professionally. First, like I mentioned, texts are read quickly, and when you already have a relationship or permission to communicate that way, a short text can get the attention faster than other methods. Second, texting feels more personal and conversational. It can lower resistance and make it easier for someone to respond casually, especially if the next step is simple. Now, again, we really want to have some relationship or that permission. We all get these texts that are from companies and things like that, and they're not so welcomed unless, of course, I'm on Facebook and I ask for something and it's interesting. The moment you push submit, then you've got the text coming, hey, we saw that you replied this and that, whatever. That's fine. But just don't go spamming text. It's not a good idea. And third, text messages are ideal for quick follow-ups, reminders, and appointment setting, and they help to keep momentum going without requiring a long exchange. Use a LinkedIn message. A lot of my things that I do are on LinkedIn. And I think this way too because LinkedIn has to do with business to business quite often, and it's professional. And plus, when you get verified on there, people know that you are a legitimate, real person. You're not AI, you're not a bot, you are a real person, and that's so important today. LinkedIn is especially valuable for business owners because it keeps outreach in that professional setting where relationships and opportunities naturally intersect. So first, LinkedIn works well for reconnecting and with professional contacts that you may not have another direct line to. It is often the easiest place to restart a business conversation. Second, LinkedIn gives context. When someone sees your message, they also see your activity, your profile, and business focus. That can reinforce credibility and remind them of what you do. And really, there's quite an art to it. And as far as LinkedIn goes, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, there's a lot of information on there. But I think you can kind of tell when somebody's busy because things aren't updated. Unfortunately, mine needs to be updated, at least at this point. Hopefully, maybe when you see this video, it's been updated. But anyway, you have to have a good look. It has to have your important information on it and easy for people to contact you. Third, LinkedIn is a great place to nurture visibility while reaching out privately. A direct message combined with thoughtful public activity can strengthen trust and keep you in front of the right people. So, here are some best ways to reopen conversations. Reopening conversations is not about sounding pushy, it's about making it easy for people to reconnect with you. First, keep the message simple and warm, acknowledge that it has been a while, and give them an easy opening to respond. People are more likely to engage when there is no awkward pressure attached. I think we've all been there. I think, though, I've seen less of that in the social media and LinkedIn and all this. I guess maybe people have finally realized that it doesn't work, right? Second, mention something relevant. As I mentioned before, refer to a past conversation, a need that they've shared, a recent update, or a point of common interest. Don't just talk about the weather or golf, or maybe you could say golf, but it has to be something that's relevant. And again, if they've had a past conversation about golf, go ahead and maybe chat about it. You know better than I do as far as you and your clients. Relevance, though, makes the message feel thoughtful instead of generic, and that is so important. Third, offer a natural next step. That might be a quick call, a short meeting, or even just an invitation to reply if timing is better now. The easier you make the next move, the more likely they will take it. Best ways to generate appointments. Appointments do not usually come from vague messages. They come from clarity, confidence, and a simple invitation. Let's not make it difficult. It's not rocket science, right? Appointments do not usually come from vague messages. Just be clear, be confident, and create and use a simple invitation. Don't feel bad if you're rejected. That's fine. You'd rather be rejected by somebody that doesn't need what you have at this time than to waste your time with that person when you could be working with two or three or four or five or six people that do need what you're offering. Okay? Don't feel bad. There's enough out there. Don't be concerned. Have peace. So first, be specific about why meeting makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it makes better sense to be in a Zoom call or sometimes physically together and having a cup of coffee. Tell people what you would like to discuss and how it could help them. A clear vision, a clear reason creates more interest than a generic request to reconnect or connect. Second, make the appointment feel easy and low pressure. A short 15 or 20-minute conversation often sounds more manageable than an open-ended meeting, and people are more likely to say yes when commitment feels reasonable. So, as an educator for many, many years, I want to give you a short assignment. This week, why don't you set at least 2 or 3 appointments following this? Make it easier and low pressure. Invite for like a 15 or 20-minute conversation. And so people are more likely to say yes when the commitment feels reasonable. And then leave comments below as to how it went for you. What did you mention? What did you say? How did you talk about getting together? How did you make it easy? Third, and this is my paperwork that bumps up here every once in a while in front of the camera. Third, ask directly. Now, many business owners hint at a meeting without actually inviting one because you're not confident. Again, you're going to be confident if you're not trying to convince somebody to buy. You're going to be more confident if there's more value for that other person than you. If you're more confident, like Zig Ziglar always said, you'll get what you want when you help enough other people get what they want. I've just always thought I'm out there helping people, like with this video. And then if there's something in our menu of services that can help you, which I know there's many things that can help you, but if you feel that you want to go and let your fingers do the walking like the old Yellow Pages ad, and take a look at some of them and give me a call or give my staff a call and say, hey, let's get together because I want to talk about investing in gold, maybe moving some of my IRA money into gold or silver or precious metals. I just bought some copper yesterday. Now that's interesting because the guy told me that it's probably going to be the new silver. Anyway, again, I'm glad you're here because these are little gems, little precious metal gems that I'm giving you right now that could help you. So anyway, don't hint. You don't have to hint. Just come out and say it because don't waste your time and their time. You've got something of value for them, and let's get together, have coffee. I want to see what you're doing and how I can help you. I remember the gentleman that was the co-writer for the Chicken Soup for the Soul and Jack Canfield. And at this point, I can't remember the other guy's name. So look it up. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put it in here later. And anyway, he would call business owners. He'd see that they had projects going on, and they'd be big projects and whatever. And he would call them or contact them in some way and say, hey, I want to get together to talk to you about this project that you're working on. And they said, oh, okay, well, what do you do? Why should he said, well, I want to partner with you. And okay, well, what do you have to offer? He said, well, I know stuff. And so a quick cup of coffee or whatever, he would get consulting gigs out of that thing and everything else. So anyway, give that a shot. Wow, I've given you probably three or four or five different really great points, I think, even outside of being Intentional Tuesday. So that's what it's like when you're part of my mastermind and we have minds of other people and the serendipity of things that go on too. So be looking somewhere for my mastermind, and I have several of them. They're on a tier kind of a basis. I have a silver, a bronze, silver, and gold and platinum group, and it goes up, 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 depending on your business and that sort of thing. You can ask me about it. And it's limited. There's only 12 people in each group from non-competing industries, and it's for 6 month to a year membership. So I'm giving you a little bit of a teaser there, and if interested, comment and call my staff, and I'll let you know some information on that, and if there's any availability in any one of those groups. So we're asking directly because we're not hinting. And so a simple question such as whether they are open to a brief conversation this week or next can make all the difference. Now, notice what I said there. You don't say, oh, you want to get together for coffee to discuss blah, blah, blah. That's a yes or no question. This is a close-in technique where it's the either or. So one simple question such as whether they are open to a brief conversation this week, what works better for you, this week or next week? They'll tell you if no week works. Okay. Now, the best ways to remind people that you are available and paying attention. Staying visible is in the right way matters. Very important to be doing it in the right way. Don't be spamming them with emails and junk mail. Don't be spending your money on any kind of an advertising campaign that's not working, right? So staying visible in the right way matters. People do business with those who show up consistently, not only when they're desperate for a sale. And as I was writing this, I thought about that too. I have one client that he doesn't do a ton of things except for calendars, advertising calendars around the end of the year. And so I do business with him and during the year, but I'm not desperate for a sale when I see him every year, but I kind of feel like I need to be motivated to talk to him and invite him during the year. And just because I know that I've got other things that can help his business as well. So first, check in before you need something. When your outreach is only tied to a sale, people can feel that. They can smell it. And so then when you reach out regularly with genuine interest, people see that you are relationship minded. Who cares if somebody makes a sale or buys a sale or does a transaction today? You want to have a transaction that goes on for as long as you're living, and then understand that you can't take it with you anyway. So let's have a decent relationship as we're doing this all the time. Now, that reminds me of all of the gold and precious metal ads that you see on the internet and on TV and things like that. There's different variations. There's a celebrity saying, hey, I really this and that, whatever, and I'm an old person, so I put my trust in this person and this gold place. And then other people say, hey, there's all of these pitfalls, and you need to know about these pitfalls. Let us tell you about that before whatever, whatever. And well, I'm a rep for a precious metals place, and I love them, and I've got testimonials and blah, blah, blah. I vet all of these companies before I offer them in my menu of services. So anyway, my whole idea is that we want to be relationship minded. And so in my advertising, I say, call us for a 10-minute call. If you want to talk about the weather, fine. If you want to talk about precious metals, fine. We're here to help you. Let's build a relationship. If it's something that we can help you with, fine. And if not, I'm going to tell you, you should do something. Why don't you just go ahead and go to your local pawn shop and buy a couple pieces. Usually, if they're a decent pawn shop, you're going to be able to get some good deals on gold too. And so you're not buying like 100 or 1,000 or $10,000 worth of gold or silver. That's not what you want. That's fine. We'll go with that. Otherwise, if you want to consider some of your lazy money or whatever to put that into gold, we can do it. My point is that we build a relationship, and it doesn't matter what it is that you do with me and my company, All Solutions Known. It's all about relationships. Okay. I'm not talking about going on the golf course, and I know people love doing business that way. More power to you. That's good if you're doing that. But I'm not a golfer. Okay. So anyway, people say learn to golf. All right. Actually, I had to quit golf because I was so good at it. I could play two fairways at the same time. People got annoyed. So second, share useful value in your communication. So a helpful insight, a useful resource, or a thoughtful observation shows that you're paying attention to their world, not just your own. And that's a really important thing with your social media. In my LinkedIn post, many times it'll just be a tip. It'll be some insight, a resource, a useful resource, an article about a local kind of a thing that's going on that could hurt or help their business. It doesn't say anything about contacting me to purchase anything. Third, be consistent enough to be remembered, but not so constant that you become noise or annoying. Annoying. Tuesday outreach works well because it creates a rhythm, and over time, people start to view you as someone who is dependable, engaged, and present. And I used to do some route sales, meaning that I would see my customer, it could have been a weekly or a monthly. And so they got to know I was on there at a regular day every month, and I really like that. And I may get back into that a little bit more, where I'll probably see people like maybe every 90 days or something, because so many of our things now are done online and via Zoom, like this meeting that I'm doing here with you. And then the other thing is that it's just so easy and people expect that. But again, when you show up personally at their place of business, they appreciate that too. Now, you can hear this probably. It's an alarm. I'm going to turn it off. I've got another meeting here in about 15 minutes. So we're going to close up with these final thoughts. Too many businesses wait for opportunities to come in and when they should be creating them. So people are waiting for opportunities instead of making opportunities. They hope that the phone will ring. And that's the deal with social media. We're doing all of the social media, but it's not making the phone ring. But what it does is it gives them top of mind awareness of you and your business. So when you know that your LinkedIn profile has been seen a lot, that people are seeing your ad, go ahead and pick up the phone and talk about that same project or that same sale or event or whatever it is that you just put on LinkedIn the past week or so. So you be the connecting point. You do that. So instead of hoping that the phone will ring or hoping that the email will arrive or hoping that your next customer will somehow appear, but what we need to do is know that hope is not a business development plan. It is not intentional. So we're not doing that on intentional Tuesdays or any day of the week, any day that ends with Y. Use Tuesday as your day to create momentum, reach out to past customers, reconnect with warm leads, strengthen referral relationships, follow up with the people you keep meaning to contact, make the call, and send the email, send the text, drop the LinkedIn message, reopen conversations, generate appointments, remind people that you are available and paying attention. So, do not be that business that sits back and waits. Be the business that creates opportunities on purpose, being intentional on Intentional Tuesday. Again, this is Terry Scott, America's #1 business resource consultant. I'm saying make it a great day. Intentionally make it a great day. Do something great for somebody else. Do something great for your employees, for somebody else outside of your business, for your vendors, your clients, everybody else. So bye for now. We'll see you.